Hey everybody, welcome back to the One Piece Virgins Egghead Book Club podcast. Very special, volume 40, spectacular, The Siege on Enies Lobby, covering chapters 378 through 388. I am the captain of your measly crew, Mumkey D. Jones, joined today by a special guest. He's the Kobe to my Luffy. Welcome aboard our cabin boy of the week. It's Heartsy D. Prodsy.
You can call me Tony Heartsy, because I'm a small, freakish creature that has found an unlikely band of friends.
Definitely a mixed race, sort of mutt of an existence, and most reject him, but not us on the measly crew. And, really the reason why he's here today is because he wants to challenge my vice captain in combat to the death for his title as vice captain. It's Iggy V. Rodriguez.
Well, have at ye, scoundrel, if that's how it be. You know, a cabin boy once broke a great man out of his shell before. I saw it right from the very beginning, so maybe you need to break me out of this eggy shell.
If Usopp stands a good chance against Luffy, I mean, Heartsy versus Eggy, let's hear the power scalers in the comments. If we get some good battle details between how this fight would go in the comments, I will read them next episode. Even though Heartsy will not be there, this is just a special, hey, we made it to volume 40. Let's have a guest on. Maybe every 5 or 10 volumes we'll have a guest, Heartsy or E-Rich or somebody, who knows. We'll see if people like this. What do you think, Heartsy? Are people going to like this?
I doubt it, but I'm open to see.
Well, as we briefly discussed on this show, Heartsy, you binged all of One Piece manga and our podcast in basically the last month, is that right?
Right. In a few weeks' time, I caught up to the podcast, which is my goal when I started One Piece, was to catch up to this podcast so I could listen along when new episodes come out.
So this is basically the only episode you can be a virgin, because I imagine right after this, you're just going to read ahead.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And I'm actually pretty proud of myself for catching up so fast in just a couple of weeks. Because I've been sitting on One Piece for a very long time. The first time I ever heard about it was back in middle school when my best friend got
So really like 5 years ago?
Yeah, 5 years ago, for sure. No.
How old are you, 21?
No, I'm 20. That was middle school.
So 6 years ago? Like, come on.
Yeah, okay. So, I guess 8 or 7 years ago. But yeah, my friend, super into One Piece. He was always into One Piece. He would always talk about it throughout middle and high school. I would never stop hearing about it.
Annoying. I hate people like that.
Yeah, of course. And I should have gotten into it then and there, but I didn't. The only reason I got into it was because I was bored one day. I was like, I should read something. I should watch something. I went to my good friend. I asked him, where do you read One Piece? And he said, no, don't read it. Watch it. Watch it. Don't read it. It's a bad first experience. Watch it first. And then I went to you and asked for your opinion, and you said, just read it. So I've been reading it ever since, and I really love it.
Well, you've seen a lot of the anime, and you've now read 40 volumes of manga. Which experience, as a genuine One Piece virgin, do you think is better?
I'm very conflicted. I love reading it, and it's much faster paced. I can read it on my own terms, and I think a lot of things are more punchier in the manga because so many things are dragged out in the anime. So I would say we're pretty tied because the anime has a great soundtrack, has great performances all around, and a lot of the action is really well animated. But overall, the manga is way better paced, and I can read it much quicker, and I enjoy that a little bit more.
Okay, before we dive into this volume, what have been your favorite arcs and characters so far?
I have top 3. Luffy, of course, he's the GOAT. I started off hating Luffy, kind of. He's kind of annoying. I started off not liking Luffy because he's annoying. He's brash. He makes some rash decisions without really thinking about it first. But overall, those quirks became really endearing to me. But Luffy, Usopp, and Chopper, those are my top 3.
Okay.
And my favorite arc so far has to be Water 7. Like, this arc, it's so good.
Hey, did you concur with that, or where did you have Water 7 on our tier list last week?
Well, I feel like,
I think I had it right below Skypiea as my second best.
Yeah, I think that's Did I have it at number 1? Yeah, I feel like
Should I pull it up just to keep you honest? Let's see. Where did Eggy have that at?
It might have been third.
You
place,
had it as
maybe.
the king of A tier in third place behind Alabasta and Skypiea.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And
so we all have it top 3. That's pretty objective, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I would also say, just echoing what I did say on the last episode, that we're not counting Enies Lobby moving forward. I mean, even just if we included just one more volume of Enies with Enies Lobby, I think that could have even just pushed it even just a little bit more, because this.
You think this volume would have made it even higher? You liked it that much? This
was a really great volume, in my opinion. So I feel like, I mean, it might not have shifted the position, but it definitely would have made it stronger. If Water 7 was top of A, I think it would have certainly gave it a little more oomph to keep that position for being challenged, for sure.
I'm really thankful this is the episode I get a guest on, because this is also my favorite volume so far.
Wow, of the whole story. Well,
so far, yeah.
Who has the top of mind first between the two of you? Should we let the cabin boy take it, Eggy? What's the top of mind from volume 40, Artsy? Your favorite volume?
The top of mind so far. Well, I'm just continuously blown away how each major arc and saga in the story just continuously one-ups the last in terms of stakes and scale. And this is the largest scale, biggest stake event so far from what I've been reading. I mean, the Straw Hats are literally taking on a government facility to free one of their friends, Nico Robin, and I'm just blown away by the true scale of Luffy taking out 1,000 guards by himself on his own. All the other Straw Hats launching a train up a fence and crashing into one of the giant guards. But obviously, the biggest thing in this volume, it's kind of the last thing that happens. The thing that immediately made my eyes sparkle when I read the title of the chapter, Gear 2. Oh my god. I am a sucker for transformations in a series like this, and Gear 2 just blew me away.
I think somebody looked at which chapter does each anime protagonist get his first transformation, and like most of them are within like the first 100 chapters. Like Naruto turns into the fox, like fucking chapter like 28 or something. Luffy's first transformation's 388 chapters in? Jesus!
Is this like a fourth of the way through the entire story so far? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, as of this point, it's probably about a third. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're up to, I think, 1145 right now, thereabouts.
Yeah, I love transformations in series like this, and I didn't even know if One Piece had them, because I managed to stay completely blind to stuff like that. So when I saw that, I was blown away.
Well, let's dissect what is happening with Gear 2, and Eggy's really good at applying real-world science to Oda's cartoon logic, and we do not get an explanation. What do we get? Luffy, some weird pumping happening in his legs, his body gets red, and he's steaming from his pores. What is happening, boys?
Well, there is a scientific explanation. So I used to order these pills from a Russian pharmacy that I paid for with Bitcoin back in the day, probably about 7.5 years ago. And unbeknownst to me, these are Gear 2 pills. But scientific term for them is called DNP. And basically what DNP, the substance is that it's an like ultra anabolic metabolism booster that makes all your fat burn off and turns you to pure lean muscle. And it makes your body run a lot hotter, and you have to take a certain amount of supplements or you might die when you're taking it. So I only took about 3 orders from this trusted Russian pharmaceutical agency before the headaches just got to be a little too much, and I thought maybe it was not so good for me. But I did take all the supplements they told me, so I suffered 0 long-term repercussions. We can all see I'm very healthy.
Did Chopper design this medication for Luffy on the Rocket Man?
Oh, ooh. That'd be a cool
well...
situation.
Because we know he has the Rumble Ball.
The thing about
did he make Luffy goes crazy and gets hot pills?
I mean, Luffy did say that he literally just learned how to transform his body into this form, so I don't think there's anything else going on there.
I think if we were going to try to apply it to what Chopper might have been able to create for Luffy on the Rocket Man preceding this, it would probably be chemically more aligned to like crack cocaine. Like he's on like some good cocaine, because you would still run hotter from that. You would be in that stimulated state. So maybe it's just I don't know if I have a great direct comparison to anything in real life yet, because I don't. It's kind of just like a phase shift. Like I don't want to liken it to Super Saiyan because that's the plebeian, everybody could think of it go to.
Well, and what is Super Saiyan? It's just this alien race when they get furious. It's not even like just a power up. It's specifically if they get very mad, then their power level increases and their hair color changes, and that's just part of their physiognomy, or whatever the word is.
Actually, hold on a second here. I just realized I know actually the true exact answer, since me and you were just talking about this very rare media of Oda Sr. He was doing a kind of unusual hand salute to a crowd, a little Elon Musk style perhaps. Well, there was a German politician once upon a time. He created something called Pervitin, which was a stimulant supplement in a pill form, I believe, that was used to increase the combat abilities of his military. So perhaps Luffy might be taking a little bit of Pervitin, I don't know how you pronounce that, but any of these stimulants would track. I don't know if it should make him stronger necessarily.
Yeah, we don't see Luffy ever take a pill, so I'm wondering if we're going too much into meme answer, or if, I mean, what we see is Luffy in a unique pose, his legs having kind of fat, like tumorous lumps. We don't really... maybe in this case, animation is better, because we'd better understand exactly what is supposed to be happening. Before I don't think it's a spoiler to explain the science, the pseudoscience behind it. Before I explain, Heartsy, do you have any guesses here as to what is physically happening with Luffy?
Is he contracting his muscles to build up heat? Is that what he's doing?
I mean, maybe. I think specifically he is accelerating his blood flow, like using his rubbery arteries to push his blood faster, and that's making him move his body at shave-like speeds, where he's basically teleporting. I think that's the explanation, and I don't even know if it's listed in the manga. I think it might be an SBS answer, so that's why I don't think it's really a spoiler.
Right.
If anybody has a better explanation than that, include that down below after you write the Eggy versus Heartsy fanfiction.
As soon as I read the final Gear 2 chapter, I did look up the fight scene and how it was animated. And in the animation, they give Luffy this weird purple aura that surrounds him, and I think that looks really cool. I like that.
So maybe it is. I mean, like I said, I don't like to say it, but it sounds a little Saiyan-y. I don't know, but it is what it is. It's the
I think it's only possible because his body's made of rubber, whereas the Super Saiyan, like I was alluding to earlier, is kind of just born that way, and it's not Goku becoming smart enough to accelerate his body. It's, I'm pissed! This was good writing in the 70s! I'm mad!
I don't want to take us too far off track here, but all I'll say is that Goku had to train to elevate his forms and things like that, so I'll just say that one.
How much did his eventually his 5-year-old kid is doing it, so fuck the training. It's all bullshit. We're not going to pretend Dragon Ball Z is expertly written, okay? It's just very cool and epic.
I mean, Luffy tells us that he unlocks this transformation off screen, right? Like he said that I trained my body to learn how to transform.
So he learned how to do it, and Luffy, he'll often learn from his enemies, and he got to see these moves up close in the Galley Law mansion, and then, I think he just has such battle IQ that after seeing it up close, he's able to figure it out and realize he needs to accelerate his blood flow to make it possible to move that fast.
Right. I think what I thought of was he said back when I lost to Aokiji, he said this is when he started thinking about how he needs to be more strong to protect his friends and loved ones. And I thought he learned how to warm himself up while he was frozen to stay alive. So maybe he was doing some of that while frozen.
That is clever. That might be. While he was frozen, he started pumping his blood to heat up. That's a good idea. Eggy, top of mind. And if Heartsy stole yours, get a new one.
Well, see, I knew that. I'm not saying that the gear is very up there, but for me personally, I would have to say, I think that it was Usopp. The Sniper King. It's kind of a symbolic thing. He came into this. This was his way of bolstering himself up as a Sniper King. He's not able to retain that identity. He loses the mask. But once he, after that fact, he's trying to figure out, how is he going to provide any assistance to the crew. He got left behind as they all go through the siege, and he makes contact with one of the giants at the gate that is suddenly coming to, speaks on them after he hears their backstory, their history with the giants, Dory and Brogy, and leads them, after speaking with them, into joining the side of the Straw Hat Rebellion against the Marines at Enies Lobby. I thought that was a very beautiful thing in the midst of all of this very raw siege. Everything is just so explosive and volatile, tense, for this diplomacy that plays on the things that we've already experienced, plays to the strengths of Usopp and his own personal experiences. It allows him to graduate from the Sniper King character that he needed to have playing to defend his own insecurities. He finds where his own strength is, and it makes all the difference in allowing all of the crew to get to where they need to be, and I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah, it almost makes me cry, this scene, because if you really break it down, Usopp feels useless. He's weak. He's probably rightfully getting left behind, because even these fodder Marines with a power level of 10, if they have a weapon, as we'll get into later, I don't know if Usopp could really take them on too well. But what he does have is the power of lying. That's what Luffy says at Arlong Park. Oh, I can't lie. I need a liar. But what does Usopp do here to change the tide of battle and save everybody's lives? It's not a lie. The motherfucker tells the truth. He tells the truth to people who have been lied to for 50 years by the government. The most famous liar in the story has to tell the truth against the world government. Is that not reflective of the real world? All these people. Alex Jones is the Usopp of our world. They say, oh, he's a liar. But when he's talking about certain people, he's speaking truth to power, folks. Are we not the Oimo and Kashi who have been lied to? Well, maybe Alex Jones is not a good example. I heard he's kind of retarded from a good source.
I heard that I think he has to bend the knee to Elon Musk lately to pay his $1 billion that he owes or whatever, so it is what it is. But, at the same time, we've all been there before. We are out here with Usopp. You know what? We're the Sniper Kings, and we got that red pill loaded up in that slingshot right down the throat of the people. And
one anime filler scene that I appreciate, that I think Oda would have included if he had more room, is here we get Usopp. He's explaining, no, you were lied to. I've met Dory and Brogy just a few months ago. I could imitate their laughs for you if you need be. And in the anime, he actually does it. And it's very sweet. Like, he's perfectly imitating these characters and their laughs to convince them that he actually met them. And only Usopp could do it. He revered and respected these giants so much that he absorbed their personalities. And he's probably the only Straw Hat who could have convinced Oimo and Kashi to flip sides. And ultimately, that immediately saves the lives of Galley Law and destroys all these fodder Marines. So, is Usopp not the MVP, if not for maybe Luffy?
Usopp is definitely the most human of the crew, I think, because, literally the most human of the crew. There's nothing really particularly special about him. Like, he's the straight man of the Straw Hat crew, I think. And I really like that appeal to humanity he has with the giants to convince them. Like, I don't think anyone could have done that other than him.
And again, people in the fan base sometimes, they're not reading the same story as the rest of us, and they say, oh, yeah, Usopp is useless. That bum, how's he ever going to win a 1v1 against another Yonko crew? But it's not always his place, because sometimes you're not good at some things, but you're crucial in other elements that other people can't do. And if turning the tides of war by converting people is Usopp's skill, I'd say that's more valuable than if he could just like fight one CP9 guy.
Not like useless. He's a very clever person. We see even later that he improved the weather baton or whatever, and with it, Nami is able to wipe out an entire squad of guards just with the weapon that Usopp created.
And it's strong enough to knock out all these guards, but even when Zoro and Sanji get blasted, they recover pretty quick. So it's nerfed to a degree where S tier fighters are not going to die from it.
Right.
Which is a very funny moment when she accidentally blasts her own allies. Any other thoughts on this top of mind with Oimo and Kashi?
I just think it's another example of, I talked about this in the group chat, but I hate the military of this world so much. There are so many times I'm reading and the government does something or says something that has me fuming.
You talking about the newspaper or in the manga? Like the real world
manga.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant real life.
Yeah, both, of course. No, I'm already someone who hates the government, IRL, so just reading a government that's equally as bad, if not worse.
Dreaming! Don't give it up, Heartsy!
It really has me fuming. But this moment where they lie to the giants that their comrades have been captured in battle. Oh no, there's no hope. They're gone. Now work for us for 50 years. Fucking awful.
Yeah, evil.
Terrible people.
So I'm glad that racism prevails and all giants do know each other.
Hey, and sometimes people of a group, when they're persecuted, they gotta stick together. It is what it is.
Okay, should we do?
Really like the.
Go ahead, Artsy. Now I was about to do my top of mind, but we're gonna finish this one.
I really like the giants in the One Piece world so far because it really turns the trope of giants being big, monstrous villains, where they have a strong sense of honor and code, and they will fight for you. They will befriend you easily. I love that. I love that about the giants.
And hopefully there's many great giant characters to come. Maybe we'll meet one next week. Speaking of spoiling what's coming up next week, this is not my top of mind, but maybe it should be. In the SBS, unprecedented, Oda tells the reader, we will do Robin's backstory next volume. Eggy, has he ever spoiled what the next volume's contents would be? This was shocking to me. He must be very hyped up and excited about writing this, that he's putting it in the Q&A section.
Well, yeah, I personally had never seen anything like that I could think of. I mean, because we've had a few backstories. We had sort of Chopper's backstory. We had Mont Blanc. We had Sanji, and I don't think at any point that we've ever had something like that. And I'm not gonna lie, no, maybe this is a hot take, but I'm kind of like, after I read the volume, it's so it's, I don't know, it's hitting a spot for me with the action, and I'm liking it. There's times previously where we've had these flashbacks, and it feels like they've all fit. I'm not going to distrust Oda at all. He's known what he's doing so very well.
You think it's the wrong time for it? You want more action?
I just kind of feel like we got this great momentum built up right now. The siege is so epic. We have Luffy transcending to another level of power. Maybe we could do something like that. Like maybe Luffy, maybe he's going to go through like a cooldown. Like, I used up so much of my power. And maybe that's going to be like the parlay of it into a flashback.
He does say at the very end of the chapter that he's very tired and that his body can't keep up with his power.
And that is a fine reasoning for me. I think that is a good reasoning if we're going to do it. But I mean, God, this was just that sieging was so epic. Yeah, I was just like every single chapter I was doing a happy dance. I was getting up and applauding. I had to listen to like epic like NFL type like just like loud orchestral music because it was just such a beautiful experience. I didn't want it to end, but maybe, like I said, I'm gonna trust Oda. He knows what he's doing. But it kind of, reading him put that in there in the SBS, I didn't love it at first. I'll just say that.
Spoiler alert, Oda. Yeah, I don't love it either. I mean, I feel bad when I spoil shit that's gonna happen, and now the fucking author is doing it. But now that it's, out there, I have to ask, what are your guys' predictions? And I hope Heartsy did not read ahead. What will be Nico Robin's flashback? What's the story?
This is the only time I had to stop myself from reading ahead because it was really hard the past few days just not reading. I don't know. I think we're going to have a backstory of what happened on that island as a kid. That's probably going to be what it is. If I had to
The Buster Call Island. Well, do we know the name of it? O'Hara? That's right.
Yeah, I forgot the name.
The way that Spondum refers to it as like the Devil Land, and that, in this volume, we basically get the idea that it sounds like the Buster Call wasn't exactly approved. He's kind of aiming to basically go above his superiors in with this golden transponder and use his authority to enact his own will. So I imagine that we're gonna get some context to this quote unquote Devil Land, and we got a little bit of context why Spandam would be so against Frankie in the Puff and Tom flashback from last volume and all that. So I'm sure it's going to be very good, very interesting, but just kind of while I'm in the fog of war, I don't know, that's a bad thing, but just I'm on a little bit of like an adrenaline rush off how epic this was, and it was kind of like, okay.
Right.
Well,
all we know so far. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say if the Buster Call being threatened against the Straw Hats was Nico Robin's main driving force behind wanting to sacrifice her life and all this, and now it's being threatened, to this day with this new golden transponder snail. Perhaps narratively, it would be nice for the audience to actually see one unfold, to know what exactly is being threatened.
You did tell me, quote, the Buster Call flashback will enrage you. That is something you told me.
Well, you hate the government so much, and yeah.
I do, yeah. All we know right now is Nico Robin is the sole survivor of a terrible tragedy that happened when she was 8.
And she evidently blew up a Navy battleship, so blood is on her hands, that demon child. I hope they get her. Aokiji, go get her! Freeze that bitch!
Right, so I'm very excited to see how that plays out. And I'm not at all disappointed that the battle might slow down for a bit while we learn about the backstory, because so far, I have been very, very pleased with all the backstories the characters have been given. Oda is just really good at crafting detailed, tragic backstories for all of his characters. This story is very emotionally effective. Like, I am prepared for a gut punch of a story.
You want a mind-blowing spoiler hint, Heartsy? Let's just say, considering you and I are both big fans of Better Call Saul, you're gonna especially appreciate volume 41.
Whoa!
Yeah, believe it or not. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but some chicanery happens.
I'll just say you better call Saul. So was that my top of mind then, that Oda put a spoiler? I guess my second top of mind, and we can go through the cover story real quick. Mr. 2? The fuck? Last I checked, Mr. 2 was sacrificing himself, pretending to be the Straw Hat so that they could escape and go meet Vivi, who didn't want to fucking join the crew anyway. Sacrificed himself so that they could be rejected. Most heroic S-tier moment in all of Alabasta. Beautiful, tears every time. But I guess he escaped from the prison convoy because he shows up to fuck around with Mr. 3.
Well, can we just be realistic here for a moment that if there's going to be a Baroque Works member who has the skill set, the utility in his known abilities to enact a bit of a getaway, some spy business, I think that Mr. 2 is going to be the one that's going to have what it takes with his disguises.
Yeah, if they don't throw Sea Prism Stone cuffs on this guy immediately, then they deserve whatever happens. I hope he becomes Hina and starts flashing those titties, and that's how all the Marines were paralyzed.
He becomes Hina and sucks everybody's cock till he gets through. He's just going through down the line.
Does she have like the binding fruit? Is that what we see here? She can. So it's like BDSM woman. She can bind you to the wall.
Yeah, I feel like we got like one panel or one instance of it at the very end of the Alabasta saga where she used it, but it hasn't been.
We get it in the cover story at least here, but it starts off cover story. Mr. 5 shooting some booger bombs at the Marines. They're on the run. Hina binds Miss Valentine. Very sexy image. Beautiful Miss Valentine pinned up against some sort of wall or banister.
Hey, not to mention, not to go off topic here, but 379, that artwork that's not related to the cover story. It's if we're talking beautiful women. Oh,
it was at the bikini-clad straw hats, and I believe one of our old friends, an old animal friend, was in the background. Who was that?
Moji. What's There was Moji the animal tamer. So it's been a very
Richie
long
the
time.
lion. That's right.
Yeah, Richie. Hey, you know what? When he took over, we knew he had those kingly abilities, and I ain't just saying that because they say lions are the king of the animal kingdom or whatever in Africa, but well deserved. It's what he's been deserving. But all right, anyway.
Hey, we can't forget Richie. His cover story, I mean, I'm pretty sure depicts spoilers for the end of One Piece. I am pretty certain. So, I mean, he's got some good imagery and symbolism in his dreams of becoming Pirate King or whatever he was. But the Marines are ruthless here on Vacation Island, and they say, listen up, Baroque Works, if you don't turn yourselves in, bitch is gonna hang. We're gonna hang Miss Valentine. This character who is famous for increasing and decreasing her weight at will is going to hang. Oh, the irony. Gravity will be her downfall. They got her. And that's when Mr. Mr. 3 shows up independently, and then Mr. 2 also is there. Is that what's happening?
Well, because we had, as far as I'm aware, up to this point, we've had Miss Golden Week accompanied by Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine's Day. Well, I think it's just Miss Valentine, but yeah, I don't know. But then we have Mr. 3 on the wanted poster, so maybe, he might have just shown up to like another part of it. Maybe they did infer him in one of the other cover stories, but I just don't seem to recall Miss Golden Week and the other two. So, and more the merrier.
If I recall, Mr. 3 is maybe being a bit cowardly, and Mr. 2 might give him a motivational speech of some kind. I think that's my interpretation. And then we see Miss Valentine up on a giant X, crucified, waiting to be saved, or waiting for her companions to turn themselves in. And what happens, it says that Mr. 3 is surrendering to the Marines, but it looks like he's kind of tied up and pushed on a cart. Is that what's happening at the end here? Not much of a surrender?
I like the wanted poster they have that like it's kind of at this angle where they can't really depict him fully, so he looks like a toddler trying to draw a picture of Mr. 3. But
is this Mr. 2 like betraying Mr. 3 and sending him in as bait, or what is happening here?
Wouldn't it be Mr. 3 betraying Mr. 2? Like that might be Mr. 2 in a disguise. It just what is implied to me in the caption with the question mark and exclamation point that make it a little suspect. Also implying it's surrender. Yeah, when he's obviously bound and like being wheeled in on a cart. Something's not quite on the level here for sure.
Archie, do you have any predictions? What will happen next? Will Miss Valentine be hanged?
Boy, I hope so. I kind of glance over the cover stories only like when there's a character I really like that's on the cover story. I'll really pay attention. That's a sin on my part. I don't know. Because the rope works. I mean, the government really wants their heads, right? Like, I don't know. I think she's gonna be hung.
it would be nice to see a character actually die in One Piece, and I have no love for Miss Valentine, pun intended. So yeah, let's hang her. Better for Mr. 2 and Mr. 3 to live than for her. Should we go on to the epic Lord of the Rings style siege of all kinds of factions and races fighting it out? Thousands of soldiers in the mix. Who would have thought that just a pleasant train ride volume would lead to all of this all of a sudden? And I know you guys are super hyped, so who wants to begin?
I just think the scale is so unimaginable and awesome. I mean, we have a couple dozen allies, Straw Hat allies, sieging a huge government facility with thousands of guards and holding their own against thousands and thousands of guards. Luffy went off by himself and single-handedly dispatched 1,000 of them. I just think the scale is unimaginable. It's so cool. Every panel has so much detail and scale and oomph in them. I love it. This is one of the most cool things so far in the series I've read.
Yeah, I think in the initial opening here, I really like sort of the takedown with the ropes against who's that? Oimo, I think, is the one that gets taken down second. Yeah. Gulliver Travels, is that what that story was called from back in the day? It's probably been 30 years since I read that.
Amazing Jack Black movie.
I just, always have that image of him being, strapped with all the bindings. No eyes.
Gulliver jockey and all the giants started screaming. I guess he was a giant. They were little people.
Did you see the panel where they stretched one of the giant's cheeks out and then nailed the skin of his cheeks down to the ground?
Yeah, it's rough.
That's pretty rough.
And once again, I don't think they, as I recall, in at least the version I read as a child, I don't remember them nailing flesh, but you got the bindings and they were, nailed down. But I also like what we get in the beginning of the volume here. It's sort of a running gag all the way through the pretty much the imminent contact and conflict with Spandam is he's telling. It's being reported to Spandam about how many casualties they've been of the guards. He goes, 400. Oh, no, it's another 100, so it's 5. And then he gets hit, and then Spandam just goes, that's just 5. And he just believes this wholeheartedly with no pushback whatsoever for, the majority of the volume.
He allows the next report to be listened to by Robin and Frankie because he's so confident it's going to be good news. And it's just exactly what they want to hear. Well, maybe not Robin, but Frankie dies laughing.
That is such an amazing sequence. He's so confident that they have everything under control and everything crashes down in front of them. It's amazing. The
humiliation of Spandam is, the fact that a level 10 is an average soldier with a weapon, and then Spandam's a level 9. The head of CP9 is weaker than just a fodder soldier. And the fact that such a weak, cruel, horrible man like him basically has the atomic bomb button that he can press at his demand. What is Oda trying to say?
It's funny because these military officials are always going under the facade of everything being for justice, everything being for the good of the world. But we see multiple times that facade cracks and it's just about power. He's laughing that he has all this power to himself, that he can do anything he wants. So it's very clear that none of these people care about justice or world peace or anything.
Very much about vengeance. I think that's what he's saying, is that, Spandam has just been weak and humiliated multiple times, and he needs to get his vengeance, even if it's the most extreme. Which I think is funny that Khalifa also just sporadically keeps telling him that he's sexually harassing her. So
just for existing at one point.
He's not even just the beta male, so to speak, in terms of power and what he's able to exert his will on, but he's just such a repulsive, you might say, character that she's just being offended and feels violated just to even be in his presence.
Are we glad to see this gag come back from the beginning of Water 7, where Khalifa, the secretary, keeps charging sexual harassment? I think back then we even said Oda sort of predicted sort of the more extreme examples of the Me Too movement with this bitch who's everything is a sexual harassment to her. And so this gag's not getting old yet, Eggy. You still enjoy it?
Yeah, I think it had its place originally, and I think that it's worked in to fit well with the theme and the energy where it gets put in here in the arrival at Enies Lobby. So
it is nice to see that even though they were undercover, their true personalities were still coming through.
Right. I think that's probably why they were able to maintain their secrecy so well for so long, is that they never showed too much of an obvious nature to be distrusted. They always were able to maintain both, their personalities and their skill sets in their daily life, but also able to maintain a strict adherence to their mission over those 5 years as well.
And I think discussing this volume chronologically might be difficult just because there is so much shit. So we could just more go from topic to topic, and people read it. They know what happened. And are you guys ready to talk about my friends Sodom and Gomorrah? Because they had quite an arc in this volume.
Yeah, I think I would place their role probably in the maybe top 3 of of character powers. If we had Gear 2 being like the ultimate, and then the Usopp's diplomacy with the Giants, I think the contributions along with, I don't know if we really had the backstory on Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm not talking the Bible version, talking the Bull version.
Well, we got it this volume at least.
Yeah, with being spared, but having that alongside, the dedication was also very, very high up there for me on this volume.
And I should have said this at the top of the show, but I forgot, so I'll say it now. Aggie and I just recorded a Measly Crew exclusive podcast episode. People want more character tier lists. We're doing them just for the paid members here on the channel. We just did the Alabasta tier list, and most of the animals ended up in C tier because we appreciate them, but they didn't really bring a whole lot. Sodom and Gomorrah, Aggie, when we eventually do Water 7, I mean, they're transcending. These are some higher tier animals, right?
Well, we had Karu was in A tier.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, a lot of the animals, I mean, listen, I just like animals, so they're already going to get a boost off that above just the average Beyond.
Agree. I like animals more than people in real life, so in the manga, it's even better.
We had people like Lassu or the Jugongs who had involvement, they had utility. Karu was just really a cut above, and I think, to be honest, as much as I like Karu, I know that the sacrifice made here on the siege in Enies Lobby by Sodom and Gomorrah.
And they're even more personified because, Chopper translates Karu a little bit, but Chopper's translating full backstories. They're just basically speaking English to the characters for a long time.
Yeah, and we get with Gomorrah specifically after Sodom is shot down by the jesters. Is that right?
The 11 righteous jurors. Is that what they were with the giant iron balls on chains, or was it the jesters who shot down?
I thought it was righteous jesters, but I might have misread that. But they take Sodom down, and then Gomorrah basically promised to get everybody where they need to be, even blinded. From the damages and having a chest wound. Speaking of which, the force that sent out, I guess maybe I'll wait to get to that because it's a little bit jilted to kind of jump around a little too much here, but our good friend Polly gets a pretty vicious chest wound also, but it didn't seem to, I thought maybe he was going to die right there, but we can get to that when we get to that.
Very epic moment when Gomorrah is blindly charging towards a dead end, and Zoro and Sanji are just on the same wavelength. I don't see a dead end, do you? Nope. But they just obliterate it so he can get them to the wherever they were going, the courthouse. Beautiful. And he kind of lays down I made it as far as I needed to go. I fulfilled my duty and my oath in fulfilling to Frankie and Sodom. Oh, it's so sad. I hope that they live, but how are they going to get out of there? How are any of them getting out of there? Even if this is successful, I don't know.
Very noble, very touching. Two animals charging into battle to be heroes despite both being injured. Bravo, Oda.
Now, Aggie, now that we've perhaps seen the most of their arc, do we have a new theory for why they're named the way they are? Were they the true heroes of the Bible after all? I mean, Lot and his daughters, they walked away from it and then went and had incest fucking in a cave. So maybe Sodom and Gomorrah were the heroes. They cast out those horrible people.
Is that you should blindly follow the energy and direction of Sodom and Gomorrah and just maybe instinctually at a primal level follow what they have going on, and if you do that, it's going to lead you to the ultimate justice. Now, maybe that's what the courtroom is symbolic of, is justice. But I did want to say this also while we're talking about incredible animal feats in this chapter. It would be far too improper of me to not mention our hero Yokozuna at the very front of the Rocket Man, doing some sort of like, I don't know what this iron gate was made out of. I guess it was kind of like some kind of slinky or something, but he just hits it with his frog. I think that
he's been training in frog karate, fighting moving trains for decades, or I guess at least 8 years. So he's been training a decade for this moment to be able to push a metal fence, and later on he's pushing the jurors' giant iron balls away. I think it's a great setup, like to explain why this karate frog can do this.
It's certainly more than I would have expected. Like, it kind of just made enough sense of like the tragic Tom backstory we already had, with like Laboon back on Reverse Mountain, sort of like this tragic, I'm going to be stuck in this particular behavioral loop. But no, Yokozuna, shout out to Laboon, but Yokozuna, no, he's really about it. Okay, so he's up there, just, bends the fence over to create the perfect slope for the train to launch where it needs to. So a lot of great animal heroes in this volume, very much so.
Should we move on to the power level discussion? Because a few volumes ago, I think Aggie even said, oh, what if there was some sort of power levels in One Piece? And I said, oh, hold that horse. It's coming. And it came. What do we think of... and I should have wrote these down in order, but I didn't. But basically, a power level of 10 is your average man with a weapon. Spandam's a 9. But then we got people like Lucci who are 4,000. So that's easy math. He's stronger. He's 400 times stronger than a man with a gun.
I wrote a list ranking them all in order for this podcast. And I think it's interesting that Bluando is 4th place, and it took Luffy transforming max power to defeat, and he's tired at the end of that. So like, if it took max power Luffy to defeat the 4th place Scythe 9 member, what the hell? What are they going to do with the other guys?
Yeah, how are they going to beat the top 3 of Lucci, Kaku, and Jabra?
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that Jabra had that much strength, but was, on retainer, so to speak. So
I think he would have been bad undercover. He looks like a freak, acts like a freak.
A little too violent.
Yeah. And we don't get to see his power, do we? But we see a shadow of him and Lucci, and they both just look like giant beast monsters. So maybe it's similar to Lucci's leopard power.
Right.
Well, and I want to say this just real quick too. So it's Khalifa and Kaku both consume devil fruits as well. So Rob Lucci, we know he's got the zone type, so that might play into his power level increasing. Kaku already has a pretty substantial power level. He's just the 2nd place behind Rob Lucci, so the devil fruit could have a substantial impact perhaps on his power level. He might become the new number 1 whenever whatever his devil fruit is kicks in. Maybe that'll be next volume or whenever it is. Maybe they're fake outs.
Or maybe it's just a horrible power that absolutely ruins him. That'd be pretty funny.
They do hint that can happen, but Lucci's egging him on, like, it'll be fun. Just go for it. What's the worst that could happen? So I guess since you're both the virgins here, might as well play a little game. Basically impossible to win, but if you get a lucky guess, you'll be hailed as a god. What powers do we think Kaku, who ate this banana-looking fruit, and Khalifa, who I don't remember what she ate. What kind of powers do we think we're getting?
Oh, geez. Well, we know that the shape and look of a fruit doesn't really at all correlate to what it does, so it's a 1 in a million stab in the dark.
Hey, no virgin guess?
Nah, I don't want to throw my hat in the ring.
Okay, what about you, Aggie?
Well, Khalifa, I don't know, something about her gives me Medusa energy, so I want to say, I don't know exactly if there's like a freeze, like if you have like a freeze fruit, you think it's gonna be like ice, but maybe she could have like some sort of paralyzing stare or something. I'm scared. I don't know, for some reason, I don't know, just something about her. And then Kaku, I'm going to play to his strength also. He kind of looks, with his huge nose and his kind of very like circular, kind of almost like doll's eyes. I'm feeling like a, honestly, Pinocchio, but I'm also, my first inclination besides that was that it would be like another zone type, like maybe something like what Pell had, like a some sort of bird. I feel like he's got a bird beak, so, and he already had like the flights thing going on.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's got something to work with there for like a avian type zone fruit.
Okay, Heartsy, you've got the list of power levels in order. Should we
Yep.
read those and then try to predict which Straw Hats are going to fight which people just based on the power ranking?
Yes. Okay, so we got Rob Lucy at the top with a power ranking of 4,000. We got Kaku next, 2,200. Jabra, 2,180. Bruno, 820. I can't pronounce that name.
Kumadori? He was like the
Kumadori, yeah.
yo-yoi, like weird fat
Kumadori.
Japanese guy.
Kumodoro is 810. Fakaru, that's what I'm gonna call him.
Fukuro, the big zipper mouth guy, 800.
Yeah, 800, and then Fafila, 630.
Yeah, why is the girl the weakest one? That's some bullshit.
I don't know why you would
Sexist
give
Oda
the-
strikes again.
Right. Is she? I don't know why you would give the second devil fruit to the weakest one of the. Wait, does everyone else other than Kakaru and Fafila have devil fruit?
I don't know if Kumadori has a. I don't remember. We'll see.
Right.
But so do we think Luffy's probably fighting Lucci since it's the strongest guy?
I don't know. I feel like we already see that at the end of the chapter, Luffy's like, I'm tired, my body can't keep up with this power, and that's after defeating the fourth highest ranking member. So I'm genuinely at a loss to how the Straw Hat Gang will deal with the other CP9 members. It's gonna be crazy to see.
Well, I feel like Luffy and Lucci would not be a particularly, gear power notwithstanding here. Because if Lucci's got this sort of like leopard or panther or whatever type zone fruit, I feel like he's going to have a very slash and puncture sort of heavy move set, which I feel like would not be particularly good for Luffy. I mean,
That is his weakness.
Like the gear power notwithstanding, because he's going to be more susceptible to that sort of thing. So my first inclination for if Lucci is going to have a one-on-one with one of the Straw Hats, I feel like Zoro would be my first thought, my first pick, because he's going to have more of an ability to parry those sorts of attacks, I think, more effectively with his blades.
So Egghead Eggy predicts a Zoro versus Lucci 1v1. Could it be, folks?
Okay, well, this is just a complete step in the dark, but I think maybe Sanji will go against Kaku, because we've seen Kaku running around, jumping around buildings, and being extremely acrobatic. It means he has strong legs. He's very good on his feet. So is Sanji. So maybe those two will go head-to-head with their strong leg powers.
Okay. Yeah, that would make sense if that's the next strongest guy, and Sanji's probably our next strongest guy. We don't really know much about it. Blue Nose's been defeated. We don't know shit about this Kumadori or Fukuro and how they fight. They're just kind of large and in charge.
Right.
So
Well, they're lower than Blueno, so I feel like
But only slightly. And Luffy, with his power up, barely. I mean, I guess like it took a few good hits to get Bluno down. And if Sanji and Zoro are busy, like what? Fucking is Chopper fighting somebody who's as strong as Bluno?
Probably not. No.
Who else do we have? Usopp? Nami?
Well, here, I want to throw my hat in to say that I think Jabra v Nami, I think maybe there's a pairing here because we do get this. It's a little bit in the chapter after we go through the power levels. Fukuro, he says, everyone was gossiping about how he got dumped by Gatherin, who is like
some ugly bitch.
And he's seething. So he's very volatile. I feel like his volatility, Jabra's volatility, I think is going to open him up to possible manipulation if he gets some
by her feminine wiles.
So because once again, it's him not being involved in the 5-year plan was on account of his volatility. We see he's got woman problems and he's getting dumped by hideous beasts. So fine shite pulls up, she's maybe doing some jumping jacks or whatever. He's probably going to be doing like the cartoon I feel like that's a good angle for him to be susceptible to.
Okay, so we've got Zoro versus Lucci, Kaku and Sanji, Nami and Jabra. Who's left? I guess Chopper and Usopp.
Chopper and Usopp, they're not real. I mean, Chopper goes big.
I feel like we have 3 more enemies and only 2 more Straw Hats.
Well, Kumadori, like every single inconvenience, he's immediately like, I'm gonna stab myself right now for the dishonor. So I mean, I think
maybe he'll commit suicide.
I feel like there's got to be an angle there because once again, we've seen him that's been a repetitive character trait for all the exposure that we've had to him. I feel like that could be worked in some kind of way. That would be my
he does try to commit Sudoku, and then at the last second, he does Iron Body to stop the blade. Like, how do you know what to call him? Schizophrenic? Like, Jesus, what are you doing? It's like he doesn't want to do it.
He had a bad hair transplant, and he hasn't been able to live it down. It is what it is.
Big Mode Chopper is decently strong, but I don't think he's even strong enough to defeat any of the low tier CP9 members.
No, if they're doing Iron Body, there's no way Chopper's injuring anybody.
No, or Usopp for that matter. So
no, Usopp. Let's see, has he fought women in the past yet, or?
Yeah, he fought. Well, he was involved in Alabasta versus Mrs.
That's right, Mrs. Merry Christmas. So maybe he'll fight Khalifa. She's the weakest one, and he's the weakest one, and he fights women, and Sanji won't.
We'll get another sequence of him using his clever tactics to beat someone who's far above him in terms of power.
And since she just got this Devil Fruit power, maybe she won't be the best at using it, whatever it is, and that'll help Usopp.
Right.
Okay, so we figured it out, all the fights, and hopefully Luffy can recover from this Bluno fight, and maybe he can just go punch Spandam. That'd be pretty good. That's all I need.
Right.
Send his ass fucking flying.
That's right.
I want him to destroy the other half of his face that's not destroyed.
Yes, he's just nothing but robot face. He becomes like the opposite of Frankie. It's perfect. Human body and just robot face. Where do we want to go next, boys?
There's the Straw Hats make their way to the main courthouse where there's the 3-headed judge, right? What's his name?
Baskerville. And I wonder if this is intentional. I don't know. Eggy, I mean, I specifically described Rob Lucci as being a Sherlock Holmes type character. And now he's associated with a guy named Baskerville. One of the more famous Sherlock Holmes stories is The Hounds of Baskerville. Am I a 300 IQ genius here for making a Sherlock Holmes connection, or is it a complete coincidence?
I think it's definitely a strong possibility. My first thought on seeing is like a 3-headed judge with like his heads having different personalities is sort of like some sort of metaphor perhaps for how justice could be swayed in different directions just based on certain variables perhaps. But
And
maybe
ironically,
not
the
even
Central
much.
Freeway does not send anybody the freeway. They send them to hell.
Yeah.
They send them into damnation.
Yeah. You keep like multiple times throughout the volume here. You just like, I'm thinking a death sentence. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a death sentence. Like no amount of years is ever mentioned. It's only ever death sentence.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like this character at all, but he is funny. So much time is wasted with this shitty gag of them all saying their names and then the head sitting them in the middle. Like, I get it, Oda. This character sucks. Do you guys like this guy? Oh my god,
No.
I can't wait for them to move on.
Right. At the end of the chapter, Gear 2 is a very helpful diagram of the entire Enies Lobby battle, wherever Straw Hats are at this time in place. And I always love that Oda really does leave these details. I mean, he leaves like a character list at the start of each volume. He leaves helpful diagrams like this, because it is a long story, there's a lot of moving parts, it can get a little disorienting. So we have a lot of things to help us stay on track and remember everything that's going on.
Especially when Enies Lobby has a very unique and hard to even describe verbally layout, where like the fact that there's a gap in like with a bottomless pit between under it between the courthouse and the Tower of Law, where Robin is. Like, who designed it like this? What is it? Did they build this city on this weird piece of land over a gaping hole, or did the whole form after and it just missed the city? Like, what in the fuck is this place? We still don't know why it's always sunny and the day never ends. Just like the setting of this epic arc is epic on its own. It's crazy.
Right. So when we leave off at the end of the chapter, the Straw Hats are still fighting in the courthouse, right?
Yeah, and I think the Frankie family decides to stay behind to take care of the judge.
And we get a very good gag. One of my favorite running gags is Zoro's horrible sense of direction. Nami literally says, "Run up the stairs, follow me," and Zoro is running the opposite direction. This is a great little visual gag.
So he might be a little brain damaged, but it is what it is. He was stuck in a chimney earlier.
Right.
Well, I just want to say about kind of echoing maybe a little bit of your sentiment about Chief Baskerville and his goofy as the Zoomers say.
Uh-huh.
I alluded to this a little bit ago about Polly getting this chest injury in the same way that Gamora eventually gets this chest injury and then kind of powers through it. Polly does too. So after Chief Justice Baskerville is sort of imposed upon, he sends out the dog force. It's like all this, they have these arm blades. It kind of reminds me of like Voldo from what's that, Tekken? No, Soul Calibur, whatever. And he just like punches his blade right through Polly's chest, but he kind of seems to still be okay with it. But it's like, why wouldn't like maybe some attack dogs? Like, why do you have to ride the dogs? It's just like regular sized dogs, and like really the entire existence of this courthouse force doesn't really ever seem to amount to too much, because then they have like the righteous jesters who need to be called out.
I think they were
also.
jurors, not jesters. The 11 righteous jurors.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Carried by 12 instead of being judged by 12.
I mean, like a court jester, I think might have been a different kind of court. I don't know if like a law court had like a jokester running around. I think it was more like the king's court, like he just wants to chill out and watch a retard. But
I think the Chief Justice provides enough comic relief, as it were.
I mean, he's kind of the big retard of the scene. He's his own jester. Okay. I found a fun quote from Rob Lucci. We get about as much depth to Rob Lucci as we'll ever possibly need, I think, at least for the time being. He says, "I'm not interested in status or power. What I want is blood. When we're here, murder is justified." So back to Heartsy hating the government. They basically enable the most depraved, bloodthirsty individuals to have the state's justice on their side to fulfill their dark desires of murder and gore. Right. And it makes me think, Oda probably wasn't thinking of this, but there's a lot of you guys, Rob Lucci's out there on the streets today who delight in grabbing Hispanic people and kidnapping them and throwing them into vans to be deported. I'm not saying, that they're as evil as Rob Lucci, but they certainly are doing this because they enjoy it, and the government's allowing them to do this evil thing.
And then the White House will post a video compilation of all the arrests, celebrating them.
Basically taking them to Enies Lobby, where the three-headed judge gives them a deportation death sentence no matter what. Like, no real trial. It's very similar. But at least we're not... I mean, I guess we are sending them to their death if they're going to, like, Honduras prison camps or whatever, but...
Too true.
Oops.
I'm actually glad that you did mention that, because then there's an angle here, kind of a little bit of a devil's advocate situation. Maybe it's a little bit of a hot take, but I had my thought about this while I was reading it. So we have CP9 all gathered with Nico, Robin, and Frankie, and they mention that they're going to handle the Straw Hats, and Nico Robin, she gets very upset, like, oh, this was not what we agreed on. We agreed on that, if I went along and I, went with you guys, that you would let them go. And they say, well, we said that, we would not pursue them if they left from Water 7. But, I mean, they're literally outside blowing up, like, the building right now. So, like... Yeah,
I can't lie. I'm kind of on Spandam's side here. He's making some good points. Like, he didn't violate the deal.
Yeah, like, I mean, I obviously am pro Straw Hat. Like, I want them to, get everything that they are coming for, and that I'm going to stand by them. But at the same time, we can't expect them to be like, what are they supposed to stand there and just get killed and just not defend themselves? I mean, it is what it is.
This is where I'm left off at the end of the volume, right? I'm really curious what the long-term ramifications for this event are going to be, because the government and the military have always been a looming background threat throughout the entire series up to this point. But this is the first time that the Straw Hats are taking on the government directly, rushing into a government facility, causing carnage, killing God knows how many soldiers. What will the long-term ramification for this be? If they succeed in their goal, the military will want them 10 times more than they already do. This isn't something that they can just sell away from and call it a day's work, call it a successful heist. Like, there has to be long-term ramifications for this, and I'm really curious to see what they're going to do.
And chapter 383, Blue Note is giving Luffy a bunch of speeches trying to really push that point into his brain, saying, you people still don't seem to have realized you're committing a major crime on a global scale. 180 countries united against you now. Which, you want the UN on your side, Aggie? That sounds pretty dangerous to have all those countries coming out for... I mean, as pirates, they're kind of enemies of the world government to begin with, but like Hartsy's saying, now it's going to be perhaps tenfold.
I'm glad you mentioned that, the analogy to our real life about, like, the United Nations, for instance. So, like, how many of these European countries, just, using a real world example here, and just something that we can be familiar with. I mean, a lot of these countries, like, what is Estonia? That's probably, like, as big as, like, 3 city blocks in America. They got, like, they got, like, some people that got, like, milking goats in the town square or whatever. No offense to Estonia, I'm just saying. So, like, I don't know all the nations in One Piece, but if it's 180, 170, whatever nations that are all, like, just, like, 10 guys, like, in a shack somewhere, I mean, should that, just the number of nations in and of itself, be something that would cause fear for the Straw Hats? Obviously, it's not a good look diplomatically and politically, and it's going to give them a lot of issues, but as far as... if they need to defend themselves, we don't really know, are these nations these little tiny things, or are these all grand, very powerful nations?
I guess our only hint would be when we see the Reverie in Vivi's flashback where all the world leaders meet. I guess it would have to be a country big enough to have a king worth sending to the Reverie every 4 years, or however often they do it.
I was actually just reading about some ethnic groups in the country of Ghana the other day, and they have a king-like figure for each clan, which could be the equivalent of like 2 dozen or 3 dozen people. So,
I don't know if they could send them to the Reverie. Might get rejected by the Gorosei.
put those, real world tangibles into try to help us understand. But yeah, these all could be very powerful nations that are going to cause a lot of problems. Maybe let's go back to Skypiea again. We need to hide out a little bit.
Was I wrong here? Is there a shot of Hot Tory, the pigeon, sipping a glass of whiskey while doing an Elon Musk hand gesture? Is that the single greatest piece of art in all of One Piece?
I don't know how I missed that, but I don't know if I
Chapter 385, I have it about halfway through my notes. I think it's while Lucci's telling them it'll be fun, eat the fruits. And Hot Tory is sipping his own whiskey right there.
Hold on, I missed that.
Yeah, I love Hot Tory. He might be an S tier animal companion for me.
He even is clinking his glass, it looks like.
King Cobra, he's hitting his... his...
Click by Shrek glass.
Yeah. I was at the McDonald's Shrek Minions glass.
That's right.
Yes. Beautiful. I think we've actually covered most of this volume so far. I thought this would be a super long episode, but it's going to be about average. What are we missing? I think we covered everything.
Now Spandam is on a race against time. He's rushing proceedings because he knows that his time is almost up, that the Straw Hats are almost gotten to his location.
So he looks out the window and sees Luffy fighting Bluto on the roof.
Right.
He's like, fuck!
He's like, fuck the proceedings, fuck the schedule, or whatever. We're going to rush you to your cell so they can't...
they're gonna rush them to the gates of justice because once they're past that, it's no coming back. It's too late to save them. Right. Robin is being sent to Marine headquarters, and Frankie is being sent to the underwater prison, Impel Down. So we keep hearing that name come up from time to time.
I'm glad that we touched on the on Spandam seeing Luffy and Bluto fighting, because as a multiple volumes critic, I think now, of Bluto's Devil Fruit power, there's an incredible thing that happens in the midst of Bluto and Luffy's fight, where Bluto uses the door fruit to literally turn Luffy's skull into a door. He takes the section between his lips and his forehead and turns it into a revolving door. That might turn the door fruit into something that is unfathomably powerful. That's basically the incapacitation that's Robin's power. She could hold somebody back. This could incapacitate somebody in this same type of way, where you could literally just have their eyes turn into doors or something. It's that really put the fruits on a whole other level that I had never previously considered.
Yes. Severs your head into 3 different pieces, but it's fine. You're okay. It's just a little annoying.
You just get dizzy because your eyes are spinning in a circle. And that artwork of part of his head sticking out the wrong way, and it has the biggest ack we've ever seen from Luffy. I mean, that's hysterical.
I said it exactly the millisecond before my eyes hit the text when I saw that section. I was like, ah.
And then he uses the door fruit to enter his own dimension. Did you guys catch that? Everything was all weird and shadowy and wavy, and Luffy couldn't see him anymore.
Well, it says in the previous chapter that he can literally use the door fruit on air. Yeah. On air in the atmosphere. So he can just disappear into the atmosphere and just be in his own little place.
So not only can he do portals, but he could go into the door dimension. Which can he bring people in with him? We saw him take Robin through a thing. Can he bring Luffy into the door dimension and then leave him there so that he can't interact with the real world anymore?
Oh, that'd be terrifying.
He should have fucking done that. Oops.
I imagine the gateway just closes whenever he leaves.
Yeah, you'd just be stuck forever.
Right.
Until Bluto comes back. So just never go in your door dimension again, because Luffy's gonna kill you. You're fucked. Anything else from that fight?
I just think it's so cool how Luffy without training, he just learned his methods to shave, and he's teleporting around faster than even Bluto can see, and it's so cool. It's one of the coolest, most aura moments in One Piece so far.
Luffy hits him with like his final blow. Bluto does not fall, but he does like a panel later. He collapses, but right before he does, Luffy starts biting down on his thumb, and he says, "Hey, you thought that attack was cool? Wait till you see this." So Luffy doesn't even... It's not just Gear 2. Luffy has something else in store for us. Eggy, last volume we wondered, is the ally robot the new movie was talking about. I'm starting to think it might have been Gear 2.
Yeah, I mean, could be something even greater, but I think that...
What attack is he doing by biting on his thumb? Do we have any predictions for that?
I was curious about, because he bites on his thumb and he says gum, and when he falls over... I don't know if he like skipped a panel and we'll see what happens later, or if he just like has that power to make him collapse.
No, Bluto finally collapsed from the previous attack, so then Luffy didn't need to show off his new move.
Oh, okay, yeah. Alright.
Well, if he's biting on his thumb, my first inclination is that he's like plugging his mouth to be like, you know, like start inflating himself for some reason.
Inflate his head really big? That'd be hilarious.
I thought was gonna happen was he was gonna flick some saliva over. It was gonna be like a bullet that pierces.
Was that not in the SPS where somebody said Luffy should do Gum Gum Storm and then just start spitting on the enemy? And Oden's like, yeah, go for it. That sounds good. Okay.
Well, I guess if he was able to copy the shave ability, which was one of the 6 powers, then I could think that maybe he could have a copy of the finger pistol as well, like a gum. But doesn't he already have a gum pistol? Maybe I'm.
Yeah, I mean that's just like punching. His punch is as powerful as a pistol. Okay, I think now we really have hit everything. I guess the final page. We got Luffy, he defeated Bluto, and he's standing up on this castle wall, screaming up at Robin in the Tower of Law, "Robin, I've come for you!" Powerful stuff. We know for a fact next volume we're getting Robin's backstory, but I doubt that's going to take up a full volume, so what else are you guys hoping to see in volume 41? Which Heartsy will find out, I assume, within an hour?
Yeah. I'm just really hoping to see what the aftermath of this whole siege is. I don't know if the siege will be over by the end of the next volume. Luffy is here at the end, but there's still 4 more CP9 agents to take down, right? Or 5 more.
Basically all of them but Bluto.
Right, yeah. I guess we'll see the Straw Hats one-on-one in each other every CP9, and then the backstory. I'm guessing it's how it's going to play.
Well, if Alabasta is to be repeated, I think most of those 1v1s took up 3 or 4 chapters. So if all these fights are going to be as long, might need more than 1 volume.
Right.
Yeah, my previous prediction from whatever 2 episodes ago about there being like 4 volumes is obviously not what I thought it was. I just wanted to say one more thing about, because I was just paging back over here. So there's a little speech bubble here actually when Luffy's biting down his thumb that says tug ... So maybe there's something to do with that. Maybe he's gonna stretch. I don't know, but not the inflation that I thought it might be. My prediction is gonna be for the next volume. I'll take Oda at his possible spoiler word that the backstory is gonna play a part. I think at the very least, we are going to start working in 1 or 2 CP9 fights also. I think that it's going to be sort of a exposition and just a continuation chapter. We kind of got like a lot of ground covered here in the siege in this volume, and I think that laid the groundwork for a lot of things that can happen just on Enies Lobby now before we move to like any further conclusive things going on. Like I don't think they're gonna, well, I should say maybe they will start moving them towards the gates of justice, but I don't think there's going to be any conclusion there either in the next volume.
My the main thing I'm interested in is seeing the long-term consequences for such a massive siege. There's no way the Straw Hats can just win and get away scot-free. Like, they're gonna be hunted 100 times more than before. It's gonna be all hell is gonna release.
And my spoiler tag of the week. You know, there's lots of moments in One Piece that can be argued as being the most iconic, the most famous. And I'd say a top 3 contenders coming up next volume. It's one of the moments everybody remembers and brings up all the time. So what could it possibly be? Stay tuned,
Could it be
folks.
a frame that was turned into a meme once?
I'd say it's probably memed plenty.
Yeah.
Probably. Why, do you have an idea, Heartsy?
I have an idea. I've seen
You've seen some memes from your friends spoiling some shit?
Well, online and shit, just unprompted.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if it's the one Heartsy's thinking of. Any plugs or final thoughts, boys?
I
just want to put something. I want to put something in the call chat right here. Does it have to do with this currently viral meme that I'm seeing everywhere? Perhaps
Jesus.
A chibi Luffy dancing with his titties out? No, not quite.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just.
Is that your plug? Is that GIF? Because I'm not putting it in.
No, I just, it's been going viral lately, so I thought maybe, if it's something that's been memed a
Viral
lot,
where?
maybe
Where's this going viral? What are you talking
I've seen it
about?
on Instagram.
It's on Instagram. I keep seeing it on Instagram. They post it with like this really grating noise. I don't know. It's just the new brain rot.
Just of the highest caliber. The only thoughts I want to leave off with is I'm really glad I finally started One Piece because I've been sitting on it for years. I've been scared to start it because of how long and in depth it is. But finally, one day I started it and I haven't looked back. I've been really enjoying this, and
there's something bizarre about One Piece where even though it is so long, somehow so much of it is easy to retain without thinking too hard. Like the story is kind of so straightforward and simple while still having complexity and so much depth. But me and Eggy just did a tier list of characters we haven't talked about in months, and it was all easy to recall. So
yeah, right. There's very few times I get introduced to something this caliber that I like this much, but I've really been enjoying it.
If I read the first book of the Wheel of Time, I doubt I could recall all the major events in order. But One Piece, it makes it kind of easy. It's just so sequential. And okay, folks, we'll see you for volume 41 without Heartsy. Let him know in the comments how he did, not just against Eggy in a fight, but on the podcast. Is he a contender to come back for 45? For 50? Huh? Is Heartsy gonna meet Silver's Rayleigh with us? I don't know, folks. Could it be?
Wait, quick plug, because I wasn't gonna plug Luffy dancing in Brazil. Yes, we did just do a members only Alabasta tier list, going through 50 some characters. It's never gonna be available to non-members. So if you've listened through 40 episodes, probably 60 hours on average, if I maybe less, but anyways,
way more.
Yourself 60, 70 hours. Listen, I'm gonna tell you like this. You know what? If it's worth you $3 to enjoy also one bonus episode that nobody that has not been membered will ever see,
and we'll be doing the Skypea one soon too. So even more bonus episodes to come.
That's right, and you get your crew position shouted out. You might be eligible
of which,
for some other
we did have a new member this week, but I didn't do it at the top of the show, and now it's too late. I'll save him for next week.
Okay, that works.
So if that guy is listening, sorry. We'll get you next week. Okay, let's get out of here. Peace, people.
See ya.
Me.
Oh, it's probably cutting me off on Discord, huh?
I'm getting pretty good, actually.
Oh, okay, Heartsy, where's your sound check?
So come on board and bring along all your hopes and dreams.